and allow him to kind of give his piece.
What's good, Mike?
Hey,
What up,
shout
Mike?
out to everybody on the panel. Shout out to Trey.
What up,
Great job
Mike?
standing on lineage. I'm not sure if this is going to count as my time, but I'm just not familiar with the channel. So before I provide any remarks, I kind of wanted to know, like, is everybody on the panel like a Black American, or some of you guys like first generation, second generation immigrants, or
I think that everybody kind of falls within the Black American. I think
I'm Black American.
Alex has like a unique experience where his parents were Black Americans, and then they migrated to Antigua, and then they migrated back. Correct, Alex?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much Virgin Islands.
What did he say?
Yeah, pretty
yeah.
much Virgin Islands.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Pretty
Yeah.
much what we said up top.
okay?
All
I
right. So
got you.
I'm about to push click on the timer. But go
Well,
ahead. You got
and
it.
also one more quick question before we start the
Okay.
time. Am I able to share any videos or images or anything? I mean, all of them are 10 to 20 seconds each, so it'll definitely still fit within my allotted time.
Do you see the
Uh
option down there to present?
Yes. Yeah, I'm very familiar with StreamYard.
Yeah, go ahead and load it up, and I can control it on this side.
Okay.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. But you never find a white aborigine. Rather, aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine. You want to be called an American. Aborigine actually means from the beginning. Two Latin words. Ab meaning from, origine meaning the beginning.
If you want to jump straight into the next one, since I'm on the clock.
Shock around the age of 5 or 6 or 7 to discover the flag to which you have pledged allegiance along with everybody else has not pledged allegiance to you. It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you, that the Indians were you.
And if you want to go straight
It comes as a
to the
great
last
shock
video.
to discover that the country
Have to try to be something you're not.
Trying to be something I'm not? Trying to be proud of my African heritage? That's being something I'm not, then fine.
My grandmother was a full-blooded Iroquois.
I know all of that, Mama.
They don't know this. I am alive because of the blood of a people who never scraped or begged or apologized for what they were. They asked only one thing of this world: to be allowed to be. It broke my heart when you changed your name. I gave you my grandmother's name, a woman who bore 9 children and educated them all, who held off 6 white men with a shotgun when they tried to drag one of her sons off to jail for not knowing his place. And you had to reach into an African dictionary to find a name that would make you proud.
All right, so we'll jump into my remarks. First thing I want to address, I believe the host says that what he was seeing or hearing sounds like willful ignorance, and nobody abandons their culture. At least he doesn't see that. Hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants do exactly that every day. They abandon their culture. They go from China, from Africa, from deep in South America to cross the U.S. border, abandon their culture, abandon their heritage, seeking better opportunities. So, I mean, I don't know how you can say you don't see people abandoning their culture when that happens on the regular. As far as, whether or not we're Aboriginal or whether or not we're from Africa, I think it's more far-fetched claiming that all of us have African ancestry versus it being far-fetched saying that we're native, because again, the official numbers of the transatlantic slave trade say 4% went to North America. The overwhelming vast majority went to South America and the Caribbean, which is where we see the most African presence to this day. Also, I'm not sure if anybody on the panel is familiar with the Virginia slave codes. In 1682, they reclassified us from Aboriginal and called us Negro and other, and they literally jailed us for identifying with our native lineage. So when you say, why would the government make us think we're from Africa. Why would the government let immigrants straight off the boat at Ellis Island pay $5 to be identifying as native? Why would the government say, hey, if you say you're native, we're throwing you in jail? Why would the government rape, kill, pillage us, and do everything else? And we're saying that it's below them to lie about where we come from? The same people who told us Christopher Columbus
Mike,
was the hero, right? Yeah.
I like to have like a quick back and forth with you. So no, I think that you're asking questions. I would like for me, I've also just been asking questions. So I'd love to hear your answer to like those questions. But before that, I guess you made a point to what I was saying, where like why would those people forget their culture? And then you spoke about immigrants coming into America and like forgetting their culture. But I don't really know of that ever happening. Where like typically all the immigrants that I know that come into America build replications of their culture within America, especially when they get resources within America. Whether we want to speak about like, Asian town, Chinatown, you want to talk about the Hispanics, and like I'm in Charlotte. So like there's a whole side of town where they have their own malls, they have their own, different things. I don't know of them forgetting their culture as much as going to a space of opportunity to capitalize on capitalism in general. I'd love to hear your response.
I would say more specifically, they flee to America and they quickly and readily assimilate. And part of assimilating is negating or dialing down your native culture. I mean, if we want to talk about Africans specifically, we see them move to the UK, claim they're not African, they're a black Brit. They adopt a UK
What are you talking about?
If you want evidence, I mean, maybe the host can give me extra time and I can show more evidence, but I have hundreds of Africans that call into me on a weekly basis. So
Ghanaians in Africa and Nigerians in Africa don't claim that they're Nigerian. And
before I was interrupted, we have Africans specifically that go to Europe and other countries, start speaking French, start doing anything that they can to fit in, and they do not hold on to whatever traditional African culture that they have. They
30 more seconds, Mike.
They discard that at the ready and try to do anything that they can to cozy up next to white adulation.
Chock full of anecdotes.
And maybe if I wasn't being interrupted while I'm also on a timer, that would be great. But
go ahead and finish off your point.
Oh, no.
I want you to feel for it.
It's fine. Clearly, he has something to say, so I would love to yield my time and hear what he has to say.
Alex? Hey, Mike, you kind of fun, man. We rock with you up here, man.
What is that to say?
Alex?
I said what I had to say. What you said was patently untrue.
Which part specifically?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Q. So let's start with what Malcolm X said. When you said Aboriginals, I think this is something that constantly gets misquoted, and we need to understand the historical context of when people said Aboriginal. This is at a time during the Black Power movement, during civil rights, when they were trying to explain to Black people, like, hey, you are Aboriginal, as in the global context, you are the original man. They weren't talking about this. They weren't talking about this continent. But I don't want to take up too much other people's time. I want to hear from other folks.
Gotcha. And Mike, I guess like one last thing, and I'm gonna give you like another 30 seconds because I am rebuttaling something else that you had put up.
And we got one more person that we want to hear from too.
I got you. But there was a video that you shown that was of a movie of people like making a statement. In which, like, depictions in movies aren't like the most reliable historical evidence of a thing.
They hold credence. If I pull up a clip right now of a film from the 1950s and they're calling a black man a black Indian, but y'all are saying it's so far-fetched for us to identify.
I know, I get that, but like you can also pull up.
It's relative.
My bad. I'm my bad.
So with that being said, like, so Amistad pretty much just debunks your whole part, right? Like your whole story.
Or when they're like the white people build, I mean, like they say that they're Egyptians and they whitewash that.
Of the grandmother, the main reason I showed that is to prove the point that most Black folk in America, their ancestors told them that they were native, not that we were African. Even when they tried through that tether Marcus Garvey, that scammer who was friends with the Klan, that scammer Marcus Garvey who's Jamaican, trying to convince us to go to Africa. Even our ancestors back then wasn't trying to go back to no Africa. I wonder why.
Hey, Mike.
So your ancestors were trying to go back to Africa.
It's not your turn. And when I gave you a chance to speak, you didn't have nothing to say, right?
So your ancestors didn't try to go back to Africa.
You interrupt me again, and when you get your own time to speak, you ain't got nothing to say. That's funny.
Hey, hold on. Let me moderate really quickly. So Mike, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. I think we kind of running on time. We're running out of time where we try and keep this under 3 hours. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. Go uninterrupted, and then I'm gonna hit you up on the back end, and we'd love to bring you on the panel in general. I feel like I'm familiar with your channel a little bit. So I think that, like we're going to continue these conversations because there's a lot of growth within it. And we'd love to have you back up here.
It goes
30
ways.
seconds. You got it.
Every weekend I have discussions like this on my channel, so you guys feel free to click the link as well.
Okay, perfect.
But I find it interesting that we always have foreigners. I mean, I don't know his exact lineage, but he said he came from like the Caribbean or something. I mean, we have folks that are not foundational Black Americans that claim to have some vested stake in what we identify as, and that's just a phenomenon I cannot wrap my head around.
15 seconds.
What I want to say is the official numbers say 4% of African slaves came to North America. So where did all these Black folks come from? We're not native. We're supposed to have came from Africa, but only 4% of us came through the transatlantic slave trade.
Let somebody else get on the show.
And I appreciate, hey Mike, we appreciate you. It sounds like you and Alex have further future fun conversations. Appreciate you coming and tapping in on the show. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Mike.